We are all the way here. See, the energy continues, that being the most important aspect, that there is no ending. There's the continuation, there's the consciousness and the awareness. And the same is true of you. You wake up in the morning, and while you've released your consciousness, you're still coming back into a similar perspective. And this perspective suits you. This perspective is still what you're all about. It's still gathering momentum, and there are still all sorts of things that are calling you forward. This isn't drudgery, is it?
No.
And so, as you look for the aspects, as you get into each day, just the little thing that glimmers, that's all you have to find. And you focus on that and you let it expand, and that will lead you into everything else. You just have to find the one thing. Now, is there more than one thing? Yes, of course. There are many, many things calling you forward, many things that contain, that resonate, that call you into this continually expanding energy. And when you find just one, then you have access to everything else.
Mm. Mm. So today I had the opportunity to speak with a client who I haven't spoken with in a while, but we talked for a little over an hour, and I found myself actually talking with her about what we had spoken about yesterday, kind of this letting go, that it's a process. And she was telling me this story of how she just got this job, and the way she got it was she really likes art. There was an artist that she really liked. She had some of her paintings. She called the artist up. She said, maybe you'd like to open up a gallery in Scottsdale. The artist said, oh, no, that would be too much. But she was just focusing on the art and how enjoyable it was. And all of a sudden, boom, she got this job in an art gallery. And so we were talking about, kind of allowing that light, that joy to guide you. And I think that that's the glimmer that you're talking about, that little, piece of joy that you find in something very small, perhaps a painting that then kind of turns into more and brings in just more opportunity. Is that correct? Is that
That's the path. That is your path.
that is. And so it brings me to, I'm not trying to get ahead of myself, but I would like to understand, like, the path that I walk on earth, the journey that I walk on earth, this decision to work with you, this decision to, be of service, this decision to understand my authentic self and the inner energy, that is my decision to kind of come to a place of love and freedom while I'm earthbound. And earthbound, another word. But for others, it may not be that way. It may be that release when they die, right? When
Yes.
their body leaves. Okay. Okay. Is that a conscious choice that we make, or is that just an intention that we hold that, kind of unfolds as we experience and journey here together?
So it depends.
Oh,
As it's unfolding, you have your own process, you have your own journey, you do have your own intentions. And some do want to come forward into environments that are going to be challenging. And some have the greater intention to be able to take that and then to mold something with it. In fact, that is always the greater intention, but it is not always the focus of this life experience. Now, it can take on many different expressions. So there's no one answer to any of it. Sometimes you come in and you know that you're going to be challenged throughout a lifetime. And sometimes you come in and you know that you're going to experience all of that contrast within your initial experiences, but you have this greater intention to release it. But in every case, you do want to come into balance.
oh, okay.
And in every case, you do come back into balance as well.
And in every case you do, whether it's leaving physical or whether it's finding that sense of freedom and harmony and while you are in physical.
Yes.
Okay. No one better than the other. No one, no, it's just so, because I wondered, like, for someone like my mother who had, who lost all of her children except for me before she passed, and her husband and her boyfriend, who had, financial issues, and who then had, some health challenges. It felt like a very difficult life. It felt like an intense life. But she did always manage to, kind of rebound. She kept rebounding. And I think that's one thing that she kind of taught me. You got to keep moving on. You got to keep moving on, moving forward. And obviously different than another person's life, just as you said. um, and so with all of that sort of energy around challenges in your life, is then the experience of in non-physical like so incredibly joyful?
Yes,
Like,
and you felt it in your experience, but without having to have that full transition. You think of it pulling the slingshot back and back and back, and there is all sorts of tension, and then you release that.
yeah.
Now, you still are who you are. You still are a personality. You still are an individual. But the things that you're experiencing that was causing so much of that inertia are then removed from your experience, and you can move on in the direction that you had intended that you still want to go. Now, of course, we don't recommend needing that you have the opportunity to do it a little bit each day, to
Hmm.
release a little bit more each day, and then to get that momentum moving more and more and more.
Hmm. Yeah. So that was what I was kind of noticing today, that I felt very present in the energy. And then, like, I had to go to the church to, let the people know what scriptures, were going to be read and all that, and the music. And it was crazy because the church secretary, I guess, he was so nice, so kind, so friendly. And I felt, like it was almost a joyful interaction. Like I felt a very loving interaction. And, with COVID and everything, we don't have a lot of like those kinds of contacts, but it felt like just peaceful. And I said, you know what? More of these kinds of experiences, like, would be wonderful. Just more of these kinds of joyful, like, pleasant interactions, not jumping out ahead of myself with expectations, or, but just being present with that felt like it just felt really beautiful. And then my daughter's boyfriend shows up with dinner tonight. He went out and got dinner for us, and so we were talking about, just like his mother and how sweet she is, and it's like just really simple things, as you said, um, have this wonderful, joyful feeling about them, peaceful feeling. And that for me is a little bit different than, I mean, I've always had those kind of wonderful moments, but it just almost feels like it's a, um, what would you call it? Kind of like a river of love.
Yes,
Yeah, like a river of love flowing through my day.
it
That's kind
is.
of what, yeah, that's what it feels like. And and really, since we talked yesterday, um, so thank you, really, thank you. And it's not like I made like this big commitment, like now I'm going to do that all the time. It's almost like I settled into a place of, um, into a frequency or a rhythm or something that just feels right, like that. You know what I mean?
We
Yeah.
do very much.
Oh,
And you didn't force yourself there, as you're saying. It was a byproduct of the letting go and just a letting go. But not letting go and you get cast by a powerful wind and fly away somewhere, as many fear. But you're letting go and you are able to relax into that stable state of being at the core
yeah.
that you're talking about. And let that be the foundation that continues to grow, that inspires you, that gives you new ideas, that gives you more momentum forward.
Yeah.
And you didn't think your way there, but you released all of the tension, you find that stability, and then it continues to grow and carry you forward.
Yeah.
And then as that is moving you forward, you start to see the path. You start to see this experience and then the next experience. And then it leads to another experience and then another experience after that. And the process just continues and continues and continues eternally.
Eternally. Eternally. Eternally. Yeah. Eternally. Thank you. Um, when we do make a transition like my mother made, some in some spiritual circles or whatever, they talk about this place that you go to kind of do a life review. I don't know if that's like you go to, I think maybe Edgar Casey or somebody might have talked about that. um, is that a real thing?
Yes. It's not a place as much as it is a transition state of being
Oh,
where you are sort of awakening in that process, and in those moments there is the time to have that review and then to decide as to how to move forward. And now the words become irrelevant at a certain point, but what is the most important thing is the experience as you're moving through it. So you have the access to the angelic guidance, you have the access to those who you've known in the physical who are there waiting for you. And as you awaken into this new state, then you can make the decisions. Then you can decide if you are complete with your learning. And if that is the case, then you carry on into the new experience. If you're wanting more physical experience, then you come forward. You return as a new personality, as something completely unique, but with that inheritance of that experience. And so that is what people call reincarnation. We do not speak of reincarnation because you, in this moment, are unique. This Marilyn has never been before. And this person, this personality, has the individual choice as to how to continue in the physical and in the non physical as well.
so Joseph, as a collection of non-physical teachers, are you are you personalities that have decided to come together to support me in this experience, having previously been incarnated?
So we are a source. And what that means is that at the core of that which we are is consciousness. It is, you can call it an entity. It is a person to an extent. In other words, you personify, we are personified. But this personality that you're speaking to in that sense is just a representation of that which we are energetically. Now, that it continues into the collective. In other words, the collective are many, many personalities, many, many energies and entities, all gathered similarly energetically. And we have access to all of that information and all of that knowledge. And so we have many personalities that go forth. You could call them angelic if you'd like,
Okay.
that are that see things the way that we see things. And so there is that continuation of communication. But at the core of that is that which we are, that which is really known as Joseph in the sense as that which you are communicating with.
Right.
Three, yes, at the center, at the core, speaking as one,
Three as one.
and continuing to express.
Yeah.
And as that reaches out, and anytime you choose to allow that energy to flow through you and you're connecting with it, you are functioning as a part of that collective and is an extension of that which is source. So there is no separation.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Because at times, like, I know that you speak through Aaron, but at times, like, especially recently, I
Mhm.
have like reached out to you energetically, and your I feel your energy. I feel like the Joseph energy.
Indeed.
And it has been very comforting to me. But also I enjoy that connection. So I'm very happy that you said that it's not separate, that it is an energy that I am a part of that
It
clears all
is.
that up.
And
Yeah.
you'll have your own interface with it. You'll have your own, and you do have your own relationship with it. So as that energy comes forward, you'll have your own sort of teachers who come about you who are of that same energy, but who are interfacing with you, part of the collective,
Yeah. 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 Same energy.
same energy.
Same energy. Yeah. Yeah. Same energy. So, okay. Because that also, what I wanted to do, like even today, was I just wanted to feel that energy at moments. I just wanted to like step into it and just feel it and just allow it to feel, like allow me to feel. I don't even know who's me and who's that, but just feel it. And and so I just had this little like thing like, well, what if that's not right? What if, Joseph is really like more, you know, belongs to Aaron. I don't know. Like, so anyway, you helped me to understand that because I was feeling that connection really strongly. So it's really what I'm feeling. Like the Joseph piece doesn't matter. It's the energy that I'm feeling. I get
Yes.
it. I get
And
it now.
and in the same way, you'll have your own interface, you'll have your own name, you'll have your own experience, you'll have your own process, you'll have your own methods of expression, you'll have your own interpretation, you'll have your own verbiage, you'll have your own experiences, you'll have your own insights, you'll have this blending of the physical and the non-physical into that continuum. That is the eternal self.
Mm-hmm. That is the eternal self.
And when you're fully connected with the eternal self, you're not alone. You're
Yeah.
surrounded with all sorts of energies, all sorts of personalities and entities who resonate with that same energy. And when you're there in that clear connection, you have clarity. You have, you're speaking the same language.
Yeah. Wow. That's so awesome. I want to speak that language. Um,
So it's the same process, yes, that of the letting go. You don't have to figure out the language. You just have to get to that place of clear connection, and then thought by thought,
it
idea
comes
by
forward.
idea.
Yeah.
Exactly. And you're building the vocabulary, you're building the experience. And not only are you receiving it on a personal level, but all through this process, you're emanating that energy. You are a magnet, you are that beacon. And so it's happening on the inner, and then you see it reflected to you in the physical experience. And that is what we want creation to be. People call it law of attraction, they call it all sorts of things, but that's what we want you to approach it from. You connect to the energy, and then you have the glimmer, and then you have the new idea, and you put emphasis upon it, and you think about it, and you appreciate it, you enjoy it, you think about it, you move forward, and then it continues to grow.
Yeah.
And because it's on that same energy of that source energy, then you're not the only one working on it. There are all sorts of energies gathering about who share that same interest, like moths to a flame, you see.
Mm. Mhm. 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 Yeah, I totally get that piece. Totally get that piece. Mhm. I had a question and I was just enjoying your talking, so I forgot what the question was. It's not important. Um,
You don't have to reach for it. You've already
yeah,
put it out there, yes.
yeah, yeah. I felt it. I felt this um, beautiful. So, just one thing that I have noticed is, I told my boss at the university that my mother passed, and he's been so kind, and he and his wife, and so I'm not working right now. I'm just doing what I need to do, and it feels good, and I don't feel guilty about not working. And I think that in the past I would have like really felt that way, like, oh, I need to get back to work because, but I'm so much feeling like just letting it be and letting it go and letting it be fine and okay. And there's a tension that's gone, a more relaxed feeling. And yet my body or my brain out of habit is sort of like, well, if you don't get in there and do that work, then they're not going to value you. And and I hear that, so I'm just not really paying attention to it. Um, and so right now I'm like bridging into this place, I guess, where I just feel like, you know what, I'm going to do it when I feel that I can get back into it and do it, but not like I have to do it because if I don't, then, I'm not a good person or whatever. It's like I'm going to let it become absorbed in this energy, like not separate it out into this thing that I do, but let it just become part of us, of all of this. I'm going to let everything become part of, because really it is, right? I mean, it really is. And I've segmented things and said, all right, now this is work and this is that. And yes, sometimes you have to do stuff, but it doesn't have to be like, you leave your peace to do it. You bring the peace is carried with it.
And that is how you get to the next step.
That's how you get to the next step. That's how you get to the next step. Yeah. Joseph, this is amazing. I mean, really powerful, really beautiful. Um, I did not think that this would come as the result of my mother and I, but it is really amazing. Um, so thank you. Yeah,
Indeed.
yeah, I'm psyched about it all. And I don't really have any questions, but I know what one question would be. Like when people do get to the other side, do they have something that they want to tell people that they, about, like, is there something that my mother would want to say to me that I'm trying to understand this, like that when I am with her in non-physical, that she'll say to me, like, how does that work? Do people make reparations? No, no reparations. No reparations. No.
All that is left behind.
It's all left behind. All of it. It's all left behind. All the issues, all the sorrow, all the stuff. It's all left behind, right?
All
Because
left behind.
from non-physical, they really see me not as confined to those issues or those
You
situations.
take the best of that which you are and you move forward with it.
In non-physical too.
Indeed.
Okay. Okay. So if it's really joyful and non-physical, then it's sort of like being joyful here in a way. It doesn't matter, all that stuff.
And you still have the development, you still have the process, you still have more that you want to grow. In other words, you connected to that energy so many times, but you still feel the desire and the inspiration to move forward. Yes,
Yeah.
that's the eternal self. The eternal self isn't sitting on a cloud eating grapes and is done with it all. You've connected to that energy many, many times, and you know that there is still inspiration. There are still things that you want to do. There are still things that you want to grow into. You don't get sucked up into this sort of perfect and complete finished self. You're continuing to move forward. You're continuing to develop. You just take the best of that which you are. You take the most developed. You take the inspiration. You take that excitement and that eagerness and you bring that forward, and you let go of the things of a physical nature which had been keeping you in
Oh,
those sort of patterns.
very good.
But again, it doesn't mean that you're perfect. It doesn't mean that you're finished in the non-physical. It just means that you don't have any of that physical stuff bogging you down.
Okay. Right. So no pain, no hurt, no grievance, no regret, that kind of stuff. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I
So
like
if there were something that you were regretting in the physical, you leave the regret behind, but you carry forward the motivation to to bring whatever that is into resolution.
Oh, okay. Right, because you're kind of on the other side of that wave. Yeah.
So when we talk to you about let go, let go, let go, and you were able
Yeah.
to do it and you connect with
Yeah.
that energy and then you start moving forward,
Yeah.
well, you didn't let go of it and go into some blank piece of paper and eliminate your desire or anything like that. But you just let go of a lot of the sort of unnecessary physical aspects of it so that you can continue to move forward in that direction. And that's what it's like on the
Yeah.
other side, if you would.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's really cool, actually. So it really doesn't matter in a way. I mean, physical is just a different experience of the same energy.
It is your experience, so that does matter.
Yeah. 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 My experience of it, but it's just a different perspective, a different experience, as you said. Yeah. My experience. I love this. I love this because it's really like um, encouraging. I think I was feeling a little bit discouraged before yesterday, but now I feel really encouraged. So I like it. Thank you.
Indeed. There is an eternal adventure here for you all.
Yeah, eternal adventure. Well, I'll enjoy this one here in a moment and just, yeah, keep on the magic carpet ride, I guess.
And so it is.
Thank
Anything else
you.
here?
No, that is it. Thank you, Joseph, so much.
Indeed. We are complete. Hey.
We're in.
Hi.
Wow, like, okay, so now I have a question for you. Um, have you ever felt like you have been like transported in a way with Joseph to another dimension, or do you always feel physical? Like,
When it's like when I'm speaking for them,
yeah.
I don't really it's kind of like how do I describe it? It's kind of like um I almost feel like it's kind of like being backstage and like kind of watching, like I was on stage and then I kind of like switch places and I'm kind of just like watching what's
Uh-huh.
going on and like observing it. But I definitely feel like the energy, I feel like the interest and um yeah, I guess I feel the energy. I don't really like have an out of body experience or anything, but what I do notice, it's weird to like try to reference what my consciousness is like because it's kind of like I feel like it's remembering a dream where it's like, oh, I kind of
Oh,
think of like I don't know, it's hard to explain. But I have noticed that there's like this experience where just like kind of like my vision all merges into I guess and like seeing energy, I think is probably what it is. Um,
oh,
it's really
oh,
cool.
oh, yeah.
It's hard to describe. If you've ever like kind of stared at something for a long time and then looked away, you know, it has like those kind of like
Yeah.
tracers.
Yep.
It's like my entire vision kind of syncs up with that. It's weird. It's kind of tricky to
Wow.
describe.
So you do fill up with this energy, obviously. I mean, your body in a way, you feel the
It
energy.
used to be a lot more of like an intense transition when I was first getting started. But after having done it for, I guess, almost 11 years now, like I've kind of just, it's very like a relaxed state. It's very natural.
Okay.
That's what I feel. It's just like relaxing and kind of just like sitting back. And I can feel at the beginning, like the tension that I hold in my abdomen like loosens up and just like
Mm.
relaxing. I can feel it actually like within as their energy is coming in. I kind of feel it in like chunks or like phases, or it's like relax and then it like relaxes deeper, and then like
Yeah.
muscles that I didn't even know I had like control over relax, and then that's when Joseph comes in.
Wow.
I'm kind of just chilling out and like,
Yeah.
yeah, you know how like when
I
you
think,
are kind of like half napping, like if the
uh-huh.
TV's on, you can kind of like follow what's going on, but you're
Yeah,
not
a
really
little
like
bit.
consciously
You kind of wake
engaged.
up, go to sleep, wake up, go to sleep kind of thing.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you're talking about with that. That's awesome. Um, and so 11 years ago, did you just have like a how did you know that they had come to you? Like what
yeah.
happened?
So I was having a very like challenging life experience. Like basically my whole life had like collapsed around me. It was like in shambles. But I had been like learning about law of attraction and things like that, and dabbling with channeling, which was not a smart thing to do, I think, in that state, because I was like traumatized and like things weren't great. And so
Oh,
then like opening up was like even more confusing. um, but I was reading that book, Opening to Channel by Sanaya
oh, Roman?
Roman. Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
And one of the things that they suggested that I hadn't done is like asking for your highest source of guidance. And so that's like an intention that I hold now every time before I go into meditation, because I was like, oh, I'll try that. And then it was like this big, like bright ball of energy, like in my chest, like opened up. And it was just Joseph, and they were there, and the energy was like, it was very strong. At the time, it was not very manageable for me, and it was just like super extreme. And following, I was at a state where I was just like, pardon my French, but like fuck it. I was like,
Yeah, yeah,
what
go
do I
with it.
have to lose? I'm just gonna go with it. So
Yeah.
yeah, but I've been following him ever since. I'm still
Oh
on the
my
still on the
God.
path.
Did they tell you that they were source energy? Like
Yeah,
what?
it was really kind of, yeah, clear based on like the other experiences that I had. It was just so strong. And then the most important thing for me is how it's played out over time. And
Yeah.
going from total like down and out homeless, like all the bad stuff you could imagine, then like they're like, talk to this person, reach out to this person, like, oh my gosh, I have a place, you can stay at my house. And then the ride manifests out of nowhere, and then like one thing leads to the next, and then it's been crazy. Like I don't know, I'm so used to it now that it's like I'm in the flow of it, that it's just like,
Yeah.
to me, is what life is.
Yeah.
But at the beginning it took a lot of faith, and it took a lot of like,
It did.
I don't see how this is going to work out. This doesn't make any sense to me. Like, but what do I have to lose? Like, let's keep
Yeah.
following it. And I mean, everything has been awesome from following that path.
Wow.
So,
Wow, Aaron. Thank you for telling me that. Because I guess we get to a point where there is nothing to lose, where there's only like the desire to be, like happy. And so, you kind of just trust and go with it.
yeah,
And even though I've been doing this work for a really long time, there seems to be these points, where it shifts even more, or
yeah,
shifts even more. And like I was telling Joseph, the sense of me now even wanting to connect with them. And I'm glad they explained it to me that I'm not separate from the core energy that they are, but that same energy will come through me. Like I may call it Joseph like you do, but that it's my connection to that core energy that is the real deal there.
yeah, totally.
Yeah. So now I feel like, okay, another piece kind of falling into place here. So
Yeah, it's
uh,
true. And like what I've noticed is that kind of looking back at those different stages, in the moment, it seems like, well, I mean, there's a lot of uncertainty, I feel like, in a lot of those kind of like leaps of faith. I've had a lot of those coming up with COVID too, where like everything has changed, and I'm back in that position where it's like, I don't know how this is going to work out. But then, like, looking back on the different stages or like decisions or like those moments of connecting with the energy, it's really extraordinary, because like in the moment it doesn't seem like anything that big. You're just like, I'm just kind of let it go. But then like you
Yeah,
look back and it's like, whoa, like things
happen.
changed a lot. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and that's what they were just saying about that, the glimmer, the glimmer, the glimmer, and then pretty soon, it's like you're connected in with the all of the help of the universe, like filling in,
Yeah,
so um I love that.
it's true.
Well, thank you for being this wonderful teacher, Aaron. You're really like so wonderful. Thank you so so
Well,
much.
thank you as well, because you're calling it forward from Joseph, and it's really rewarding to do this work.
Yeah, good. Good, good, good. All right, well, I'll let you go. Have a good
Alrighty,
evening. Put
have a
your
good
house
evening.
back together.
Yay.
Okay.
Alrighty, I'll talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Okay, bye.